Hello, I'm Harry from TV. Remember it? No, you don't have to. And today I'm going to review a creepypasta audio drama that doesn't seem to get enough recognition. And that audio drama is called Smile, It'll Be Over Soon. And believe it or not, it's not about Jeff the Killer. It is about the popular creepypasta Laughing Jack. And honestly, it's fairly underrated, and I think it deserves a lot more recognition. So the story of this audio drama is that Hannah Harper and her mother Jade have moved in with Jade's new boyfriend Jonathan, and they discover, or Hannah and Jonathan discover, an old music box which leads to a whole bunch of chaos, with Hannah befriending the monochrome clown that is Laughing Jack. And honestly, it's quite a fairly underrated story. I think the characters are actually very well written. I think Hannah honestly was a little bit cynical at the start, with her being rude to Jonathan and being rude to her mother, but over time, you kind of understand why, particularly with Jonathan, but I'll get into that in a moment. So, full warning, this video will contain spoilers, so if you don't want me to spoil this audio drama for you, go listen to Smile, It'll Be Over Soon. I will link it in the description if you want to go have a listen. But without further ado, let's get to the review. So the characters are quite well written. I think Jade is a likeable main character. Hannah at the start, she's a little bit cynical at first, but like I said, you kind of understand why later on in the story. And Jonathan is quite an interesting one, because you kind of think he's quite a nice stepfather for Hannah, and quite a kind man, and he really gets along with her, but later in the story we kind of find out he's got a sinister intent. I think the voice acting in the story is particularly good. The writing is also quite good as well. I can kind of see them maybe taking a bit of inspiration from the Morgue Files, in terms of like horror, in terms of like how it's written, the horror elements, the character writing. I can kind of see how it maybe take inspiration from the Morgue Files. And I think it makes for a genuinely good short story. It has 4 chapters, each 30 minutes long, and it's actually quite good. In terms of the characters, now, I think Jonathan, I think if the writers weren't careful, Jonathan could have been a really sloppily written character, but it's kind of actually well written how he hinted to be a bit more sinister than he lets on. And particularly with Hannah, later on in the story, it's kind of implied Hannah is SA'd by Jonathan, and if you don't know what that means, go look it up, cause I don't want to get the video age restricted or something, you know. But I like how Jonathan is written. I like how Hannah is written later on in the story, with being a little bit more likeable, and I think Jade Harper is a decent enough character. The way you kind of see how Laughing Jack is kind of tearing the family apart a little bit, with Hannah being so infatuated with Laughing Jack, Jack kind of making the mother go crazy. It's almost like the original Laughing Jack story, where the boy James is befriended by Laughing Jack and then eventually gets killed. But it's better written. And actually, what I find interesting is this story actually acknowledging that Laughing Jack story. So much so that if you listen to the origin of Laughing Jack, the present day Laughing Jack story, and then Smile, It'll Be Over Soon, it could make for an interesting trilogy. Like, it could come across as like the formatted version of a Laughing Jack trilogy, even if Smile, It'll Be Over Soon isn't written by Steve Atkins or Atkins. I think what I have to say about this audio drama, the only thing I wasn't really a fan of is Laughing Jack's voice. Now, I like that they were going for a unique approach for the character, but it doesn't sound like Laughing Jack to me. Like, if you listen to the voice in the audio drama, he doesn't sound like Laughing Jack, he just sounds like average East Londoner. He literally does. He literally has a typical East London accent. He doesn't sound, gravelly or groggy or, ancient from all the years he spent in the Jack in the Box. He sounds a lot more clean in terms of his voice, and I guess you could argue that that's his way of manipulating the children, and I guess that could be good in a way, but I don't know. I'm just so used to listening to David Near and Snuff Bomb's take on the Laughing Jack voice. In fact, they should have gotten David Near to voice Laughing Jack. He would have been perfect. Editor Harry here. Before you say, why not Snuff Bomb / Steve Atkins? He'd be great too at voicing Laughing Jack. Snuff Bomb was called out for being a groomer, so I don't think that would be possible. I think this is a good story. I think the writing is good. I think the voice acting is exceptional. The audio is really amazing. Like, you would be forgiven for confusing this for an entry in the Morgue Files series. And to be honest, I'd be quite interested to see how this audio podcast production deals with other creepypastas like Jeff, The Killer, Slenderman, Smile Dog. Those classics. I'd be interested to see how they handle the other creepypastas. And maybe not, but maybe in a more standalone way and not in a way that the Morgue Files is doing it. And yes, I know, the Morgue Files is not a creepypasta series. I know. I've heard David say it multiple times. But that's all I have to say on the matter. Tell me what you guys think in the comments of the Laughing Jack audio drama. If you have not listened to it, go and listen to it, because it is quite a good listen. I think you can actually find it on Audible as well as podcast. So if you've got podcast but not Audible, you can find it on there. And if you don't have podcast, just find it on Audible or just download both. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Smile, It'll Be Over Soon. 9 out of 10. I think it's a great story. I think it deserves more recognition. And I genuinely think that Harpy Productions, who made the audio drama, could handle the other creepypasta characters exceptionally. I'm Harry Flew TV. I remember it, so you don't have to. Editor Harry again here. I love how even though Hannah destroyed the Jack in the Box at the end, it's kind of implied that Laughing Jack isn't permanently gone, and I think that was pretty badass.